Welcome to Clear the Deck. Pirates are 1-0. Pirates are undefeated. Pirates win. A 6-5 victory over the Miami Marlins. I actually just looked this up. Pirates are actually on pace to go 162-0 this year. How about that? What a crazy game that was. Down early. Tie it up. Go down again. Tie it up. Crazy extra innings, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Multiple times where the base running was trying to give this game up. But they pulled off a 6-5 win, like I said, against the Miami Marlins. Luis Ortiz coming up clutch in the 10th and 11th inning. Scoreless to get the win. Jose Hernandez, who wasn't even supposed to be on this team this year, or at least to begin the year. The only reason he was on the team today was because Roansy Contreras was put on paternity leave last minute. Gets the save. Was dotting the strike zone in the 12th inning there. And remember, if you didn't watch the game, when you're in extras, you start the extras with a runner on second. So 3 times the Pirates relievers had that runner on second base and didn't let him score. That's my first takeaway. The bullpen was amazing today. 6 innings. 6 1/3 innings, 1 hit. They were very, very strong today. Josh Fleming, Hunter Stratton, Ryan Barucki, Aroldis Chapman, honk honk, Luis Ortiz, Jose Hernandez. 6 1/3 innings. They gave up 1 hit. And the 2 walks that they gave up were from Luis Ortiz were intentional because there was an extra innings and you wanted to have a force out. What a job by the bullpen. Very impressive. Very impressive by one Derek Shelton, manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates, to know who to go to and at what time. Bringing in Ryan Barucki. Bringing in a Luis Ortiz, who we knew these guys were going to be coming from the bullpen, but at these different times, I think the big question, not seeing the one name I didn't say on this list from the bullpen who wasn't in there, David Bednar, which I'm going to say this. I said this in the last episode, a little bit prone to injury. And I think when we didn't see David Bednar come in the end of the game, a lot of the question was, well, what, are they saving him for something? Why isn't he coming in? Turns out Derek Shelton said that he was unavailable today because of his rehab from the lat issue from spring training, where he got a little bit of a later start. He didn't have as many outings as he would have liked. I'm not saying David Bednar is going to have a long-term injury, but we've seen over time Bednar is not the healthiest pitcher in the world. So something to keep an eye on, but hopefully he's back later this series, and we get to see David Bednar pitch, because when he does, and when he is healthy, he's one of the best bullpen guys out there. I think another takeaway that people, kind of had been thinking about as we transition from spring training to the regular season today was, Pirates led the league in home runs in spring training, but that's spring training. Can they transfer that into the regular season? Well, we got 3 clear the decks today. 3 home runs. 1 from Brian Reynolds, 1 from Edward Olivares, and 1 from O'Neal Cruz. All in moments of the game where they needed it to come back. Brian Reynolds with the 2-run shot to tie the game. O'Neal Cruz with a solo shot to tie the game at 5, to be able to go into extra innings. That's my big theme. I talked about the offense being better on paper this year, and they showed why today. Because even if you're down in the game, in this case we were down 2-0 early. We were down 5-2 in the middle of the game. Because we have power pretty much all throughout the lineup, Pirates are going to be in more games this year. The pitching, we know what it is. It's not as good as it probably should be. Mitch Keller struggled today. We hope that doesn't become a trend. We just signed him to an extension. It's 1 game. I'm not going to worry about it too much. But we know the rotation isn't the strongest rotation in the league. So when we are down, we're going to need the home runs, whether they're solo shots or 2-run shots or more. Those are going to be the instances of when we're still in games, even if we're down. In this case, we were down by 2 early. We were down by 3 in the middle of the game then. And each time we crawled back because we hit key home runs to bring us back in the game. So keep an eye on that. There's power throughout this lineup. Even if we're down, which is going to be stressful, it's going to be frustrating. But you can't give up because there's power throughout this lineup that will bring us back into games that we probably shouldn't be in. I think another takeaway, I mean, this kind of goes with the bullpen, but Derek Shelton, he managed a perfect game today. There wasn't anything he did today that was head-scratching. I think probably when you saw the lineup today and you saw Connor Joe leading off, you were like, what? Why is that happening? Why is Rowdy Tellez hitting against a lefty? Why is O'Neal Cruz hitting 6? I think you're going to see a lot of critiques with Derek Shelton's lineup, but I'm not as worried about lineup creation. I'm worried about when does he bring the right pitcher into the right situation, or when does he take the pitcher out when it's a time. And he did it perfectly today, taking out Hunter Stratton with 2 outs in the 7th to bring in Ryan Barucki, right? And then choosing to bring in Aroldis Chapman and Luis Ortiz and Jose Hernandez to close out the game when when David Bednar wasn't available. I thought he was perfect today. He brought in Edward Olivares to pinch hit for Rowdy Tellez, and he hit the pinch hit home run to bring him one step closer into the game, right? Took Rowdy Tellez out. Connor Joe put him at first base. Connor Joe made he did make a game-saving stop at first base on a double play when O'Neal Cruz threw it as fast as he can, as he does, to first base. Connor Joe had to dive off the bag in the bottom of the 10th at that double play to save the game, and he did. He kept his foot on the bag. They moved on. Yeah, I just thought it was a perfectly coached game from Derek Shelton. I thought the coach that wasn't great today was Mike Rabello, the third base coach, sending Henry Davis home and just, I think, getting the Pirates in a lot of just bad base running situations that were forced. So keep an eye on that. I mean, these are some small other things that I wanted to talk about. Like, Pirates are going to strike out a lot this year. Jesus Luzardo, the starter for the Miami Marlins, pitched 5 innings, had 8 strikeouts. Pirates had 17 strikeouts today. How many times can you say, I'm going to strike out 17 times in a game as a team and win the game? And yeah, the game was extended. There were 3 extra innings, but still. Not many times you can say you struck out as a team 17 times and still won the game. Pirates got away with this one, if we're being honest, right? I don't want the Pirates to be a high strikeout team, but I think that's just, it has been a theme over the years. And I think when you become, especially a team, like I've said earlier, that relies on power, which I think in this case is a team that's going to rely on their power, you're going to strike out a lot. Andrew McCutchen had 4 strikeouts today. O'Neal Cruz, he hit the game-tying home run. He also had 3 strikeouts. All right. So you gotta give and take there. Brian Hayes, my guy. I just have to talk about him, rather. He's going to get MVP votes. I said that was one of my predictions in the first episode. He was great today. Just elite defense again and turning multiple double plays. Was 2 for 4, a single and a double, 2 walks. He just, I think, consistently comes up big, and we saw how good he could be in the second half of last year, and I think he's off to a great start in game 1. I mean, how much more could you ask for from him? He just has to be above average on offense and keep his elite defense, which there's no sign of that ever slowing down. And I think he's getting MVP votes this year. All right, so what are we looking to next? Pirates play today. Again, Miami Marlins. It's a night game, 7:10 p.m. Martin Perez, one of our new pitchers, is pitching tonight for the Pirates against A.J. Puck. If we look at A.J. Puck's last year, let's see. Let's dive a little deep into A.J. Puck last year. Was he a reliever? Looks like he might have been a reliever last year, which is kind of crazy. Let me actually go to his stats. Yeah, he didn't start any games. He was a reliever last year, so that's interesting. I didn't realize that. He pitched 58 games last year, 3.97 ERA. I didn't realize that he was a new starter. So that's going to be interesting to see how he does as a starter this year. Also a lefty, so we're probably going to see a little bit of a different lineup again today, or tonight rather. If I'm creating this lineup, and I think I still have O'Neal Cruz lead off. We saw him hit a home run today. There's no reason why he should be hitting sixth. Whether it's a righty or a lefty, I mean, he's always going to hit first if it's a righty, but you're only going to get better you're only going to get better against lefties if you face lefties, right? Consistently. So I'd love to see him actually lead off. Just keep Brian Reynolds and Brian Hayes where they're at, second and third. Andrew McCutchen, listen, he's a king of Pittsburgh. I don't think he should be a cleanup hitter. All right, put him down a little bit in the lineup. Move up Henry Davis. All right, bring up Olivares. Let him start. He had a home run today. That pinch hit home run, right? Bring him into the lineup. All right, and bring in Jack Sawinski. All right, he only had he had 2 at-bats today. One was a walk. If you think he's going to struggle against lefties, how is he going to get better if he doesn't face lefties? So I'd love to see Sawinski in the lineup. Connor Joe, instead of being in there for Sawinski, I'd love him to see him at first base instead of Rowdy Tellez. He looked pretty abysmal at the plate today, but we'll see. Martin Perez, what to expect from him? I think another slow-throwing lefty who we've seen the Pirates really like. He's new to the Pirates this year, was on the Texas Rangers last year, World Series champ. Wasn't really a factor, didn't start as much in the playoffs for the Rangers, but he's been really impressive in the spring. He's going to change speeds a lot against hitters, a lot of changeups, a lot of off speed, a lot of slow speeds coming from him from the left-hand side. And let's be 2-0. I told you at the beginning of this podcast today, Pirates are on pace. This is a fact. I looked it up right before the podcast to be 162-0. Well, you can't be 162-0 if you don't win the second game. So let's win the second game, at least split the series, and let's see what happens, right? Hopefully it's not as stressful, but if you know anything about the Pirates, they're going to make it stressful. They're going to make you shake your head a few times. And I'm excited to watch. That's going to be at 7:10 tomorrow. Follow me on Facebook. Just kidding. I'm not even on Facebook. I don't know why I said that. Follow me on Spotify, on YouTube. That's where this podcast lives. Let me know how I'm doing. Send me a message. If you want to be on it, I had my friend, one of my best friends, Jake Butler, text me today in our group. He wants to be a sporadic guest on this podcast. I said, Jake Butler, whenever you want, you tell me. So we might see some guests later on in the year. And if you want to be that guest, you let me know. And I would love to have you on Clear the Deck. Pirates are 1-0. It's a good day. It's a good day. It's a good day. Let's make it an even better day by being 2-0 by the time you hear my voice again. And have a good rest of your day. Let's go Bucks.